California. Come
No,
on.
I don't.
Well,
I'm sorry, I don't.
You've never heard that California is overtaxed and overregulated? That we are a one-party state where there's sort of no checks on that sort of extreme leftism. And that, what do you think?
I don't for a minute consider California a state that is extreme leftist. Not at all, not any way.
Well, that shows where your politics.
Bill Maher just ripped into Jane Fonda for her woke views, and it was brutal. He called out how out of touch Hollywood elites have become with real Americans. Maher's takedown was sharp, ruthless, and dead on. So hit subscribe and let's get into it.
Any regulations that aren't necessary, that aren't, I mean, you really don't believe that the state we live in, California, is lacking regulation. There's over 300,000 regulations. I mean,
Well, maybe they're needed.
They're not. When I tried to put in a garage door, I had to have 3 inspections. There should have been none. I should be allowed to change my garage door.
Are you kidding? Really? It was about a garage door?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that is...
No, you know this about California. Come on.
No, I don't.
Well,
I'm sorry, I don't.
You've never heard that California is overtaxed and overregulated? That we are a one-party state where there's sort of no checks on that sort of extreme leftism.
You can see the disbelief on Maher's face when he realizes Jane Fonda is completely out of touch with California's reality. High taxes, businesses fleeing, and Hollywood losing ground are impossible to ignore unless you're living in an elite bubble. For Fonda to miss this only proves how disconnected she really is.
You think
I don't for a minute consider California a state that is extreme leftist. Not at all, not any way.
Well, that shows where your politics are. That's not where mine are. I'm sorry to tell you, is because I've been saying this on my show, there is 2 parts of the Trump coalition. There's about a third of this country who always loved the hard right wing.
Maher says many voted for Trump to reject the far left, but that's only part of the story. Voters were also reacting to weak leadership, low trust, and exhaustion. Biden's approval was near 36%, similar to where even Obama dipped late in his term. The truth is, people vote against frustration as much as for ideology.
That's what they're being told.
That's what
By people like you.
because it's true. You think the far left does nothing crazy?
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Oh, well then,
But I don't know, who is the far left? What do you mean when you say far left?
I mean, I could give you a million examples.
Yeah, well, give me one.
Okay, the NAACP.
You think the NAACP is far
Could I
left?
finish my sentence?
Yes.
You asked me for an example.
Yeah.
The NAACP last year issued a travel advisory. You know, that's like the State Department does to go to, I'm sure when you went to Vietnam, they were advising you not to. There's a war on
I
it.
didn't talk to them. I don't have no
I know, but you know a travel advisory.
Yeah.
Today we have them for very dangerous countries. You
Yeah.
know, don't go to North Korea, don't go to Iran.
Yeah.
You know where they issued a travel advisory for Black people not to go?
Yeah.
Florida.
Maher says the NAACP travel advisory to Florida perfectly shows how out of touch the modern left has become. Turning political disagreements into danger zone warnings is pure alarmism, not reality. It doesn't convince voters. It pushes them away and makes activists look detached from everyday life.
I think we have way too many regulations and laws, as we've talked about. And this one, I think, says if you're a department store with over 500 employees, you have to have a gender-neutral toy department.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, I get it.
So do you think that's
No, but it's
silly?
interesting.
Do you think that's a silly thing that
What was interesting?
we too much government there?
Look, that's an interesting one because the department stores came to us supporting that. And they were the ones making a case for that. They were making a case they're already moving in that direction.
Why did you make a law about them?
Well, but they supported the legislation. It wasn't legislation that was enacted, that was initiated from my office, but it was legislation that came up with interesting support from the industry.
Maher calls out the absurd idea that corporations beg for regulation. Businesses don't lobby for more rules, costs, and legal risk. Politicians impose ideology, then pretend it was corporate demand. Newsom didn't answer the market. He forced a narrative. Companies complied to avoid backlash, and voters were told it was organic. That contradiction is what people are fed up with.
Well, I got you here. because I live here and I'm not going anywhere. So I just want to make this a better state like everybody else.
Amen.
And good job this year making it rain.
You're welcome. That was my legislative priority.
It was looking bad there for a while, and we still don't have enough water in the Colorado River and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then whenever I read, 80% of the water goes to agriculture. Almonds.
Right.
No one ever asked you about almonds? Oh, I'm going to ask you about almonds. We grow a boatload of almonds
I'm well
here.
aware.
You know how much water it takes?
Many gallons.
1,900 gallons to grow a pound of almonds. Yeah. Come on, man.
Ma exposes the hypocrisy of California's leadership lecturing the country while mismanaging their own state. Most water goes to almond farms. Residents are told to ration, and when wildfires hit, hydrants run dry. That's not climate virtue, that's failure. Elites chase symbolism while basic governance collapses, and real people pay the price.
It's not that we don't have the water. That said, the last couple of years were tough. I mean, but it's also where the water's falling and we're not capturing it. And we're not capturing those extreme years with these atmospheric rivers. Wets are getting a lot wetter, dry's drier, hot's getting a lot hotter. And so we've got to modernize our conveyance system. We've got to modernize our storage, not just above ground, but below ground. And so that's a big part of our focus and frame, including desalinization plants. We have 20 projects just on desal that we're working on today. So we put out a detailed water strategy that includes, by the way, getting that Delta conveyance project back up and operational, and includes the first above ground off stream storage facility in half a century in the state, which, by the way, is being aided by a regulatory package I pushed forward to reduce red tape in the state of California and address the permitting quagmires that you rightfully.
Ma calls out Newsom for dodging the real issue. Instead of addressing why massive amounts of California's water go to almond farming, he hides behind buzzwords like desalination and storage. It's classic political spin: sound busy, avoid responsibility. The problem isn't lack of ideas, it's bad priorities.
I feel like the last couple of years you've purposely picked this fight with the red states. I mean, the DeSantis. Yeah, but I don't want to live in the Civil War country.
I agree with that.
You know what?
Well,
but you seem like you purposely want to set up this dichotomy between, this is a blue state and that's a red state. Yeah. And I don't want to live in that country. I like Florida.
I'm with you. And by the way, I like Florida as well. I like all these states. I completely agree. I don't want to have a state of mind that's a constant fight or flight. We've gone through so much. We've been polarized and traumatized. It's been a tough 5-6 years across the globe, not just in this country. That said, I'm not going to sit back and watch. You made the point just a moment ago in your monologue. You got folks out there trying to bring us back to a pre-1960s world. America in reverse, rolling back voting rights, LGBTQ rights, women's rights, not just access to abortion, but contraception.
Maher told Newsom he wants the red state versus blue state war to end, but called out the hypocrisy. He argued that Newsom's own rhetoric fuels the divide by exaggerating conservative positions and framing them as extreme. Most conservatives, Maher pointed out, aren't trying to strip rights or ban contraception. That kind of fear-based messaging only deepens mistrust and keeps Americans divided.
These guys are being on a banning binge across this country. You want to talk about cancel culture? Look at the Republican Party. Ask Bud Light, Target, Disney. That's just the private sector. Banning speech, not just in the classroom, but in the boardroom as it relates to issues of race. Look what they've done. 3,362 books just last year they're banning. This is a serious and consequential moment. It's the cultural purge that's going on in this country. And so I just felt like we needed to call that out as Democrats and put them on the defensive, since we're consistently on our heels as a Democratic Party, even though I think the facts bear out our case significantly better than the case on the other side.
Maher says Jane Fonda is out of touch because she surrounds herself with elites like Gavin Newsom who distort reality. Newsom claims Republicans use cancel culture, but Maher points out it's mainly driven by the far left, silencing people over jokes, tweets, and opinions. It's not accountability, it's ideological policing. Maher argues this echo chamber keeps elites disconnected from how the real world actually sees things.
This idea that we can't even have a conversation with the other side?
You have to. They won.
Thank you. That's it. Bottom line. And by the way, or the notion we just have to continue to talk to ourselves, or we're in the same damn echo chamber. These guys are crushing us. The Democratic brand is toxic right now. We had a high water mark 2 weeks ago, and that was a CNN poll at 29% favorability. It's dropped in the NBC poll down to 27%. It's one thing to make noise, but you also have to make sense.
Maher exposes the growing gap between political elites and everyday Americans. From Jane Fonda's cluelessness about California's problems to Gavin Newsom's spin and deflection, he calls out performative politics, mismanagement, and ideological posturing. His message is clear. Leaders living in bubbles are losing touch with reality, and voters are noticing. The disconnect is growing, and it's becoming impossible to ignore.